Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and unauthorized.tv. Good evening. Thanks for swinging by. Thanks for tuning in. It is an exciting period of time, I think, that is rapidly approaching us. Something very interesting is slouching its way towards the Gomorrah on the Potomac. And I think that we're beginning to see more and more signs of what we've been warned about, what we've been promised, etc., by QAnon and a number of the other conspiracy theorists. I think it's pretty obvious now what Q has been telling us and warning us about. Frankly, it's been obvious for quite some time, but now what we're beginning to see is the actual exposure of the great beast that is the international surveillance machine. And there's a lot of people who have talked about this. There's been a lot of little pieces of it that have popped up and leaked out here and there. Everything from the Jeffrey Epstein blackmail machine to the Obama civilian, whatever it was called, the civilian program that, if you remember, it was actually supposed to be as big as the U.S. military. Now, where did that all go? It delves into all of the charity stuff, whether you're talking about the Red Cross, whether you're talking about disaster relief, all that sort of thing. It probably even delves in some way and connects in some way, not just to the corruption of the State Department and the FBI, but it probably also ties into some of the more darker, some of the more imaginative and nastier conspiracy theories that we've heard, whether you're talking about stuff related to Pizzagate, whether you're talking about stuff related to Seth Rich, etc. All of these things are fundamentally related in one regard. It's not just one person or one group or one party or anything, but it's essentially a massive surveillance state operation that makes what the Stasi of East Germany, the Cheka, whatever you call it, of the Soviet Union, and the Gestapo of the Third Reich look small and ineffective and inobtrusive by comparison. And a lot of Americans think about spying and tracking and all that sort of stuff. They think of it in technological terms. They think it's all down to your cell phone and your web history, and that is part of it. There's no question that that's part of it. But there's also a very significant direct and personal aspect to it as well. People tend to forget that 20% of the East German population was being paid to spy on the other 80%. And so the reason that this is such a big deal, and the reason that this is so potentially catastrophic for society, is that it's the unraveling of this machine, the exposure of those who were involved in this, is probably going to be very personally shattering to a lot of people. I have a pretty good idea of some of the people that are involved in my life that, if there's somebody who's been assigned to, be involved with me in some capacity, I have a pretty good idea who they are. And I don't blame them. I've been a quote unquote conspiracy theorist for my entire life because I'm highly intelligent and I read history. That's all you need to do to know what is happening. And of course, highly intelligent individuals get tested for, identified, and either recruited or surveilled, from the time that they're young. And so, but I just don't care. I'm not concerned about having my most appalling moral failings and personal failings exposed to ridicule and condemnation. I mean, I've been ridiculed and condemned for practically my entire adult life. And so when you look, I don't fear public shame and embarrassment. I'm more concerned about judgment before the throne of God. If I'm going to lose any sleep, that's what's going to trouble my conscience. And Fuber says, if the tutu pick didn't turn you, nothing will. The funny thing is, it never even occurred to me to consider that embarrassing in any way. I mean, it's a charity thing, great cause. I was happy to do it. Didn't hesitate to do it. And so, when you look at, and it's not just about that, obviously. It's also about psychologically profiling people so they can find out who is susceptible to what. I mean, they need to know if a politician is secretly attracted to men so that they can offer him the right temptations. They need to know if you're a smart guy who has a tendency to think independently. They want to know, and not without good reason, they want to know if you're the kind of person who's going to go and build an anthrax factory or something, and so there's no doubt there are many, many reasonable sounding rationalizations justifying people being involved with this, working for this, etc. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for you, or if it's going to be easy for those people. The knowledge of their betrayal of their closest friends, of their family members, and that sort of thing is going to be horrific. There are people who are amazingly able to forgive the sins of others against them. I mean, for me, it's a little bit shocking at times to talk to my father and see that he has absolutely no bitterness, no anger at any of the people who were involved in sending him to prison for 11 years or whatever it was. So, but not everyone's like that. Not everybody is able to accept that kind of personal betrayal with equanimity. Trout Whisperer asks, surveillance used in conjunction with AI? No, you're completely missing the point. All this focus on, oh no, there's going to be this technology that will do this, that will do that. You don't understand that, assuming, this is an assumption, but assuming that the system is anything like the East German system, it means that there are at least 2 and possibly as many as 10 of your friends, of your extended family members, of your coworkers who are literally filing reports on you, watching what you're doing and filing reports on you on a regular basis. You know, they're quite possibly going into your house when they know you're not there, and they know you're not there because they're your friend. They might even be the people that you're asking to watch your house for you. You know, the helpful person who volunteers to stay at your house and watch your house for you, or babysit your pets. You know, and they may actually genuinely be your friends. You know, I mean, there's even some, there's even some reason to wonder about certain, relationships. There's some real doubts, for example, about British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's fiance. And, or you look at the girlfriend of, now wife, I think, of Matteo Salvini. And, when you look at her connections, and then they talk about how she and her father had advised him to do something that turned out to be a complete political trap that actually drove him out of political power. And so this revelation is going to be difficult. And I'm not just like throwing this out there. The reason that I'm bringing this up, and the reason I'm talking about this, is because it is now actually in the mainstream media for the first time. People are actually talking about the aspects of this vast surveillance machine, and the details of it are starting to come out. Let me read this bit from Anonymous Conservative posted. Michael Flynn's lawyer, Sidney Powell, just revealed on Fox Business that Obama had a massive and widespread secret surveillance system called the Hammer. And what she actually said is, Flynn was going to audit the intel agencies as he came into the White House, and that was one of the things that they were terrified of. They knew at the NSA he would immediately discover their FISA abuses and the incredible widespread general surveillance abuses of the administration. I don't know whether it's from Mr. Brennan's fusion center that he set up to focus on whoever he wanted to focus on. Brennan, of course, was the former, I think, he was like head of the CIA or national. He's a very high-level intelligence guy, or whether it's something called the Hammer. What it is, there was a massive surveillance operation, very widespread, by the Obama administration to surveil all the political opponents and anybody else they wanted to collect information on using the NSA databases, their own little research operation. And so, in Obama's program, they talked openly about it. They talked about it as if it was some sort of Peace Corps. That was sort of the spin that they put on it. But it had nothing to do with the Peace Corps. Kyle Lewis says, is there a good way to detect spies in your life? Well, not unless you catch them poking around something that they shouldn't. But no, I don't think that there's a good way, and I don't think that it's necessarily a healthy attitude to take. I think that it's much wiser to accept the philosophy of Epictetus, who said, understand that even when you are in a dark room alone by yourself, someone is watching. Now, he's, I think, referring, to your own conscience. And in the Christian sense, obviously, we're talking about the spiritual world. But the point is that, you have no secrets. And you didn't have any secrets even before the internet. So if they know, just assume they know. It doesn't matter what if you put your privacy, what you set your privacy settings to. But this is the way that the world has always worked. It's really interesting to look back to the days of ancient Rome, to look back to the days of ancient China. And, the interesting thing was the level of surveillance and domestic spying that was taking place 2,000 years ago. And so it's very, very hard to, it's very, very hard, and it's frankly a bit of I think, American frontier illusion to think that you can get away with it. There was a time you could get away from it, but that was in the days of the open frontier. And those days have not been around for a long time, and the internet has put paid to it permanently at this point in time. But again, don't worry about it, because it's always been like that to some extent, and it's always been like that on the spiritual level anyhow. Yeah, Jerusha McBair is right. There were plenty of spies in the analog days. Right, if anything, it's probably just made them lazier. I mean, what about using VPNs? You're missing the point. It's all totally pointless. I'm not saying don't do it. Go ahead and use a VPN. Go ahead and, I used to, try to encrypt all of my email with PGP and all that sort of thing. And of course, I couldn't get no one to use it. But, then I understood, who cares? I mean, keep in mind, we live in an age where the president can legally declare a drone strike on anyone in the world, American citizen or not. So, worrying about that is pointless. And I don't say that to be discouraging. I say it to be encouraging. That's why I point out that it's always been this way in some way, shape, or form. The idea that you have any privacy is ridiculous. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that when Martin Luther was saying Die Gedanken sind frei, he was not saying that you should have the right to think whatever you want. What he was saying was that only your thoughts can be free. The moment that you articulate them, the moment that you speak, the moment that the thoughts become words and enter out into the world, you're exposed. You can no longer, you can never, ever, under any circumstances, under any legal regime, speak as freely as you can think. Only die Gedanken sind frei. Only the thoughts are truly free. And even your thoughts are not hidden. We know that God knows everything about the human heart. And so it's just so anyhow, my point is that this exposure is coming. And if you look at the way that people are finding it difficult to accept, even when they are mostly on the right side of this, the fact that people are going, stop using Facebook, get a VPN. I mean, you're not grasping the extent of this. You're not grasping the unavoidable aspect of this. And if you, who are probably in the top 1%, Frank, I'm sorry, but you're a moron. A flip phone is an electronic it doesn't matter what you talk on. Everything that you say on that is even close to an electronic device of any kind, be it a television, a phone, anything, it's all recorded somewhere. So, Dances with Logo says the exposure, right, what's going to be difficult, what's going to be very, very difficult is the knowledge that some of the people that have been involved in this. And so, that's going to be the issue. And that, I think, is what, is why people have been somewhat hesitant to point it out, take it on, break it up, etc. But that breakup is coming. It's very clear that it's coming. The fact that the mainstream media is now addressing this means that the exposure is coming and the breakup is coming. We don't know what will be done about it. There's lots of memes and threats and promises and shout outs to justice, but we don't know. We absolutely don't know. So anyhow, don't be discouraged by this. Don't, and if you do have, acts in your life, actions in your life, habits in your life that that make you ashamed, or that you would, this is a good opportunity for you to address them. This is a good opportunity for you to clean up your game. And so there's no reason to give in to despair, to give in to moral sloth, to, AS says, nothing will be done about it. That's absolutely false. Things are already being done about it. To expose this whole thing is to break it. And, it will be, once everybody, just like, it's not going to completely shatter society or anything. East German society didn't fall apart completely, but it did have a very negative effect on a lot of relationships, and that's where you're probably going to see the bulk of the problems. So, but anyhow, this is good news, because remember, it's already there. Knowing about it, learning about it, doesn't change anything. Things exist independent of our belief or not in them. So anyhow, that's all I have to say about that. Let's talk a little bit about what we're doing at Unauthorized. We have a big announcement tomorrow, a fun announcement tomorrow, and I'll be appearing on Owen Benjamin's live stream, hanging out with the Big Bear, and that's going to be fun. We haven't done that in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it. I finally have a stable enough internet connection that we can reasonably hope to do that. Also, we've added a whole bunch of videos. This is actually a little outdated. We finally got a whole bunch of Wrangler Star videos up. I think there's 36 of them up there now. And so if you're a subscriber, you can go to the new site and check that out. There's also a brand new Chuck Dixon up. In fact, we're probably going to be putting new Chuck Dixon videos up pretty much every day until I get until I get caught up with him. So that's going well. This, for those of you who haven't seen it before, this is what the front page now looks like. You can see all the different channels: Owen's live stream, the Darkstream, the legend Chuck Dixon on comics. Barcelona Life actually has those 2 new videos up. They've got another one up coming this week or this weekend. The 12 VOX'S, more coming in the reasonably near future. Just showed you Wrangler Star. We're getting caught up on David the Good. Big Bear bonus streams, Owen Benjamin's live shows, various videos from the Unbearables, including Mountain Bears animations. White Bull Business is rolling again. We've got the 12 lectures on medieval history, and Dr. Rachel Fulton Brown is going to be introducing some new topics very soon. And then we've got like 8 hours so far of Castalia audiobooks up there, and we'll be adding more soon. So I'm very pleased to be able to say that you could sit there and watch Unauthorized for more than 10 days, and you would 24/7 you could watch it and you would never ever run out of videos. We've got something like, I don't know, 260, 280 hours of video up there already, and this Darkstream will be up there 5 minutes after it's over. So we're it's taken us longer to get to this point than we wanted, but we are here, and we're going to be adding to it as we go along. Some of the new features that we're looking for to add in the reasonably near future are live streaming, super chats that you can actually do whether the stream is live or not, which would be cool. And then we're also going to be bringing on some new creators. And one thing to keep in mind, the Roku and the Android apps are going to be shut down by the end of the month. And we're going to be creating brand new apps. That's going to take a while, but we will get there. So again, just, be patient and keep the faith. We'll get it done. We don't, as you can see from the site, we don't just sit around. We don't just sit around and do nothing. Everything that's up there is stuff that we developed ourselves. All of it. You know, the server software we're running, the database stuff we're running, the back end, the front end, the content administration, all the stuff is custom. And that's one of the reasons why it's very fast. It's also one of the reasons why it's a little bit unstable right now. Keep in mind, we are describing this as the alpha status, you know, and so, and you know, like Big Bear said, we'd like to get to 10,000 subscribers soon. So if you haven't done it yet, I'd encourage you to sign up. I think that you'll find it's worth it. Another thing that we're going to be adding sooner rather than later, because this is a personal request from the creators, specifically Barcelona Life wants to be able to have files that you can download. So for example, if they talk about a recipe, then you'll be able to pull the recipe down and that kind of stuff. Will Roosh be on UATV? I have no idea. We haven't talked about it. So, but we would certainly welcome Roosh getting involved. You know, we haven't been going out there and recruiting anybody at all. We've been busy just trying to get the system set up. Did you ever get that Davy Crocco? I haven't given Davy Crocco a moment's thought. As I said at the time, we are focused on Patreon. The Legal Legion is 100% focused on Patreon. It's going extremely well, and we'll look forward to providing more information on that front, hopefully in the reasonably near future. You know, but again, you know, one thing that I don't know if it's you know, people like to blame millennials and stuff. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I have noticed that at least people who are more in the video world than in the written world, people in the video world don't necessarily seem to grasp the concept that just because something doesn't happen the next day does not mean that it's never going to happen. I mean, what's kind of funny to me is that there are still people who, with a straight face, will tell you that nothing's going to happen with Patreon. Nothing happened with Indiegogo. And it's just, it's just crazy. But, you know, everything will come out in time. Tangent says, when I go to UATV, I'm still seeing the old website. That is the old website. All the subscribers have received emails telling them where to go. You still subscribe at the old site, but you know, it's but we've got a different address at the new server right now. We're going to move the pointer to unauthorized.tv. Look, when you guys say that, it's not a bug. All you're telling me is that you're not a subscriber. You know, I've been a subscriber. I haven't. Well, you might not have gotten the email, but I guarantee that we sent you one. We've got an email address. COD has it. Anyhow, we're not doing anything until Thursday. So next Thursday, we had to declare just the programmers needed a break and they needed to be able to work on some of their other projects. So after next Thursday, in fact, I'll probably tell people tomorrow on the stream with Big Bear. We're going to, you know, we've already got an address set up. Everybody who didn't get an invite or thinks they should have gotten an invite and didn't, or got an invite and couldn't get in, all those sort of things. Actually, yeah, the Slapweasel just posted it. Thank you. If you've got any of those issues, email unauthorized@gmail.com. Email them, tell them what your issue is, tell them what your subscription is and what the related email is, and then we will track it down and we will address it. We do, there's absolutely no point in emailing me because I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to try to figure out your problem. We have, there's basically 5 different problems that, probably anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred people have. Like, for example, I knew perfectly well that some of you guys didn't get the emails that we sent because we had like 38 bounces and 56 blacklists. So 56 people who subscribed to us intentionally put our email address on a blacklist, assuring that they would not get emails from us. So, now I understand that you might not have done that personally yourself, but, how can we send you information if you're blocking our primary way to send it to you, right? But like I said, we've already set up an email account for this. Send your information there. We will get you put in the appropriate slot of the problem, and then we will fix them, and then we will get you working. And like I said, we're just being methodical about it, one step at a time. We'll get them all taken care of, and then we'll continue on the ride that never ends. So, yeah, Tangent, you said, I've checked my email and I understand everybody. I hear the same thing from people all the time. Keep in mind, this is not the first mass email I've sent. There is always at least 10 or 20 people who swear up and down that they've checked everything, blah, blah, blah. And then either it turns out that they're among the people that bounced, or there's some sort of spam filter or something on their system that they're not aware of. And don't get me wrong, I understand. I have my Brave system locked down in such a way that about 30% of all internet sites just don't work. Why? Because I've got the stuff cranked up, But we'll get it taken care of. Don't worry about it. There's no rush. All we're doing is adding more stuff, making it better, and your experience is going to be even better than those people who first accessed it last week. So, yeah, email is a little bit inefficient in some ways, but it's also still the best way to communicate with a large number of people at once. And so, anyhow, I appreciate your patience. We appreciate the very strong level of support that we're seeing. And again, as a general rule, we're going to address things a little more slowly than you would like, maybe a lot more slowly than you'd like, but we will address it. We're not blowing you off. We're definitely not blowing you off. We're actively thinking about this. And the email address to use if you're having problems, if you haven't gotten an invite, if you can't log in, it's unauthorizedtvassistant@gmail.com. Slapweasel just posted up there. Here, I'll post it as well. Of course, the chat keeps scrolling up on me when I'm trying to copy it. So there you go. So anyhow, I appreciate it. And you know, if to get back to the surveillance thing, you know, if it does come out that somebody in your life is involved with this, don't judge them too harshly. You know, at the very least, you know, find their reasons. Oh, that's good news. 3-7 said, got my first Castalia Library book today. Worth the wait is beautiful. Yeah, I've got good news on the Castalia Library front. Both the meditations, both editions of the meditations are going to start being bound very soon. So, so have a good evening. We'll look forward to seeing you the next time. I'm Voxday, and this is the Darkstream.